If you have 60 seconds, please stop and listen. Some of you may already know what's happening in Palestine, but for those of you that don't, here's what's happening in Sheikh Jarrah right now. The Israeli government has decided to allow Israeli settlers to move into Palestinian homes, meaning they are forcibly removing Palestinian families, colonizing their homes, displacing them, and leaving them homeless. Currently, 200 Palestinians are at risk of being displaced. They've made appeals to Israeli courts to keep their homes, but Palestinians in occupied Jerusalem do not have equal rights, and their appeals are most likely going to be thrown away. In response, Palestinians have been participating in peaceful protests to support these families. In response to that, Israeli forces are shooting and attacking innocent Palestinians, and they've attacked Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the third holiest site in Islam, and now they're attacking Gaza. So far today, 21 people are dead, 15 of which are children. This violence against Palestinian protesters is literal ethnic cleansing. And this ethnic cleansing is being funded by your US tax dollars. The United States annually sends $3.8 billion in aid to Israel. If you'd like to help, text RESIST to 50409, spread awareness, and keep Palestine in your prayers.
أنا الصامد على أرضي ورافع للسما جبيني فلسطيني فلسطيني. This is my kingdom come. This is my kingdom come.
And who do you think you are? Running around leaving scars, collecting your jar of hearts.
What's your message to the people of Palestine?
They should know. We feel very shame what's going on there, especially they're doing everything in our name. In the name of Jews, in the name of the Torah, in the name of God. It's so shameful. We are with you. You have to know. The Zionists are strong. We are weak. But God is on our side. At the end of the day, the Palestinian flag will be on all Palestine, from the river to the sea.
Salvation, and I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. ما معنا ندفع حق للحدث، ما معنا ندفع حق لفرخون، ما دخلنا لنا بالطرفين، بدنا ناكل ونشرب، بدنا نكون لنا بامان، بدنا نكون المخيم امان، بدنا نكون لنا ما دخلنا بحدا، ما دخلنا بحدا، والله ما دخلنا، والله واللي اسمه الله ما دخلنا، بدنا ناكل بدنا نشرب بامان. شو ذنبي انا ما اشوف ابوي؟ انت اصلي ما شفت ابوي، الله يوفق عليك يا الشباب. الله يوفقه. صلي سنة مو شايف ابوي، صلي سنة مو شايف ابوي. انا ما دخلنا انا، عيلتي كلها انا ما دخلنا انا، لازم نطلع الحواجز واخذونا. ليش شو دخلنا نحن؟ ما دخلنا، ما معنا حقي نربط 10,000 و12,000، ما معنا العربية مسروق بعد يبيعونا، بيستغلونا نحن، بيستغلونا نحن، ما دخلنا.
There's something not a lot of people are talking about in relation to Palestine. So far, the US government has given $146 billion to the Israeli government, which is mostly used for military funding. No one has received more funding from the US than Israel. That's taxpayer money being used to carry out genocide. For almost 30 years, Israel was #1 in American aid. Just look at this, bro. $3.8 billion in military aid to Israel, $8 billion of loan guarantees. For everyone talking about why the UN doesn't do anything, because every time they do, the US vetoes it. The US used 42 vetoes out of 83 times to protect Israel. Half of all the times it's ever been used. It's good to know where the priorities lie. When you're spending $1 billion more to fund the Israeli military than you are to fight global warming. And it's not like they need the money. They're the 5th highest spender of military per GDP. And they're ranked 15th highest military expenditure in the world. All to carry out genocide. Oh, and before this video ends, thousands of police officers in the US have received training in Israel, or by Israeli officials. Explains a lot. In case you're wondering what else the US government could do with the $3 billion they send to the Israeli government every year, 1 year of weapons allocations to Israel from the USA could fund 46,000 elementary school teachers, 2.5 million people receiving food assistance, 650,000 Pell Grants, 1.6 million children receiving health care, which is a big deal because the US has the highest child poverty rate in the world, and 51,000 clean energy jobs. No country receives more funding from the US government than Israel, and guess what they use it on? The military. And it shows where the US government's priorities lie. They would rather fund a genocide than fund healthcare in their own country. They stand in Congress and argue amongst themselves about a little pay increase. Minimum wages barely changed in the last 30 years. But when it comes to sending money to the Israeli government for military funding, they'll send billions. And they just approve $750 billion for their own military, then help out the people in their own country. This is what your tax is paying for. And the least you could do is be informed about it.
على عهدي على ديني على أرض تلاقيني أنا لأهلي أنا فديهم أنا دمي فلسطيني 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 أنا دمي فلسطيني على عهدي على ديني على أرض تلاقيني أنا لأهلي أنا فديهم أنا دمي فلسطيني 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 أنا دمي فلسطيني
غزة بسيجة غزة no open system
قل أذلك خير أم جنة الخلد
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine must be free! We can't hear you next there! From river to the sea! Palestine will be free! From river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Free! Palestine! Free! Palestine!
Far across the على عهدي على ديني على أرض تلاقيني أنا لأهلي أنا فديهم أنا دمي فلسطيني 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 أنا اللي اسمي يكفيني أنا الصامت على عهدي على ديني على أرض تلاقيني أنا لأهلي أنا فديهم أنا دمي فلسطيني.
So the news is just in that there are over 150,000 people protesting outside the Israel embassy in London in solidarity with the Palestinian people.